There will be spoilers ahead. Lots of spoilers, so be careful, won't you? Greetings and solutions, dear listener. Welcome to another episodic of our serials, Give Me One More Chance, where we, the hostings, take a seconditious look at a movie that, on initiate viewing, we didn't like, so we can look at it again and possibly re-educate our findings. Hey, no one's perfectuous, right? And we're certainly. This week, the film at offer us on our pocket is the 2022 efforting Glass Onion, the secundus film in the Knives Out series of films. Most of us found the initialate movie pretty bendacious, but this one, well, this one left us a little emptituous. Thing is, if we just take another look, might we re-wrangle our opinionates? There's only one way to find out. Joining me on this cinemataceous journeying is the one and only Max Thesonderus Levine. Give us a synonymous, Max.
I am not Thesonderus anymore. I have a cream for that.
Oh, glad to hear it's cleared up. And me, I'm Mike Mendicatent Loose. And if you're wondering what the hell is wrong with me this week, all I can say is these.
Don't bother, we don't have enough time.
Nothing more than usual, and watch the movie. But before I go any further, let you go on further than me with your furtherings.
Poll question.
Last week, as you'll remember, Caped Crusaders, we asked you what your favorite cinematic depiction of magic was, preferably one that made sense. These are them, what you gave us. Jamie Kleinert was first on Facebook with, quote, practical magic, and purely because of the cast, although I haven't seen that movie for many, many years, so maybe it only works well in my memory. Another one that I thought worked pretty well was Witches of Eastwick, but again, it's been years since I've seen it.
Have another cherry.
Stardust would probably be the best example in recent years, although that one isn't all that recent either, to be honest, end quote. Well, the first movie's title kind of sends it all, doesn't it? Thanks, Jamie. Tyler Stewart was up next with, quote, I will always have a fondness for The Wizard of Oz. Also, the sorcerer's duel in The Raven. I guess I really like practical effects over CGI. Also, I was a kid when I first saw them and was not so jaded as I am now, end quote. Well, you can relive The Raven with our entire episode about it. And thanks, Tyler. Yeah. Benjamin Javi Carl wrote The Prestige, brilliant portrayal of magic as competitive showmanship and a business. I also enjoy its exploration of the personal sacrifice one makes for art, as well as the thin, blurred lines which separate art, craft, and business. Of course, wonderfully written by Christopher and Jonathan Nolan and Christopher Priest. The real magic is the dedication it takes to be the man in the box, end quote. Ooh, that is a good one. The real magic is friendship. Thanks, Javi.
No pony references.
I feel like a cheese sandwich. Dr. Rebecca Pelkey really likes to test the boundaries of our poll questions. And good for her. She answered, quote, as per usual, I want to give you TV instead of films. And if I were going to do that, I would say both The Magicians and A Discovery of Witches. The magical practices in each feel both rooted in tradition and unique at the same time. Though the concept of The Magicians is like a weird mix of grown-up Harry Potter and Narnia, it's still a favorite, end quote. Well, movies is in the title of the show, but what the heck. Thanks, Becca.
Nope, you have to turn in your PhD.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Adam Mark, scholar, essayist, and playwright, wrote, quote, it may not be the most sophisticated entry, but I have to go with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, 1937. The scene of the Wicked Queen's discovery that Snow White is still alive and her actions to disguise herself as an old crone in order to kill her stepdaughter is just spellbinding.
As it were.
Yeah. Get it? He's with the language. Yeah. The stoic smokiness of the magic mirror, the tight rhyming dialogue delivered so sinisterly by character actress Lucille Laverne in her last performance ever. The dramatic music as the queen dashes down the stairs to her dungeon conquering room. Dungeon conquering room. That sounds vaguely,
kinky.
The use of light, shadow, opaque and transparent animation in variety of textures and sound effects as the potion is brewed, all the while upping the drama and anticipation for the viewer. It's just masterful. The reveal of the old drone is icing on the cake. I think he means crone?
I think so.
It says drone, but yeah, I don't remember any drones. That must be crone.
Bzz,
with the raven
not
in
the bees.
Definitely not him either. With the raven in the skull serving as a proxy for the viewer. Doubly amazing. This is all hand-drawn. It's an enduring accomplishment of drama and animation. Keep in mind that before this film, most people's ideas of animation was limited to Disney's silly symphonies, which were never this dark. No bones about it. Wink. This magical scene is supposed to be scary, and I recall little Adam back in suburban Ohio being very scared indeed. The film appears saccharine today, but we should really honor Snow White as the Jurassic Park of its day. There are few movies as influential or as groundbreaking. End quote. Snow White was indeed groundbreaking in so many ways, and heck, the animation is still amazing, so thanks, Adam.
True. Yep.
It is, however, dinosaur-free. Seth Jacobs' answer was, quote, Maggie Smith turning into a cat in Harry Potter, end quote. Well,
that is a really good effect. That is one of the better ones.
Yeah, it's a very specific example. That's cool, but thanks, Seth. Matt Reisman snuck in at the last moment with, quote, magic is almost too broad of a topic for me to answer this. I loved the way magic was portrayed in The Illusionist. You weren't sure if it was meant to be a trick throughout most of the film, but that's a very different kind of magic than you see in Harry Potter or Doctor Strange. Both of those had excellent visual depictions of magic, but the systems are terrible and mostly flat. I like magic systems where the writers and other creators involved clearly have an idea of how magic works, but they don't feel the need to spell it out for you. The first Star Wars movie and Stardust do this fairly well, although the novel for Stardust unsurprisingly does better. While TV rather than cinema, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell portrayed this very well, but that is obviously also based on a novel. In animation, there's something about the way Merlin does magic in The Sword in the Stone that I really enjoy, although it may just be nostalgia. I want magic to be mysterious, not overly scientific, but to feel like it has rules or a cost so that it isn't a universal solution to the story's problems, end quote. Well, I'm going to say that I agree 100% with Matt Reisman, because that's exactly what bugs me about magic. So, yeah, thank you for all that, Matt.
Those are good ones.
Yeah, very, very good ones. Lastly, Vince, who speaks French and has been known to make cheese cry.
I think it's Bedouin.
It's French. He commented over on the website thusly, quote, when it comes to showing magic powers, the Marvel films have used those massive budgets to really come up with visually amazing magic, coupled with very talented actors selling those scenes, which could have fallen flat and looked silly. Elizabeth Olsen is the queen of selling having supernatural powers, in my opinion. You feel the power coming out of her. The problem with most movie depictions of magic is it looks like an overlay and not part of the scene, and the actors have to find some way to give it weight, like a physical force would have. Like the tennis ball in the pole for poor Ian McKellen. You shall not bounce! On the other end, Disney's Sleeping Beauty has the light fairy dust magic that sells pure fantasy. Lauter, sorry Max, does a great job using spells over flashy effects and the use of various languages, and top-notch actors make you believe that words alone can have power to affect the physical world, end quote. Oh, and interesting choices they be. Thanks,
Very
Vince.
cool.
Oh, merci, mon ami. But what about you, Max? What cinematic magical depiction... Wait, there's an extra one? Oh, that's right. Yes. There is an extra one.
Yes, there is.
Because you're in charge of that part. Well, I can't... What conveyance could possibly have brought this answer to our poll question to our attention, Max? Please do tell us.
Through the dark sorcery of our hotline number.
Oh, that's right. And it, I think it went a little something like this.
Well, hello there. This is Doris Himpelmeyer. Because you two are such important people. Oh, and by the way, my cousin, Flame McDowd, she is also a very important person. And she told me that I should come and answer your questions. So here I am. My answer, which is not so important, but I suppose in a way I might be important to somebody somewhere, I hope. Anyway, to your question, I'm sorry, I just got so confused for a minute because all the important people around me, my head is swimming. Anyway, your question was magic in movies, I believe. And I'm going to give you an answer that probably no one else will give you. Everybody else is very important too, except for this Mayor Ray. I think you might have heard of him. He's not so important. Anyway, I think the movie Willow, now that is a very important movie, and it has very interesting magic in it. Not only do people turn into animals and things, but it takes a magic trick that anybody can do to solve the whole thing. You know, the pig trick, only he does it on the baby with the red hair. I think that is a marvelous thing. So that is my answer for you. Please continue doing your lovely show. I listen every single week because you two, you're some of the most important people ever. And I will listen till the end of time. Thank you very much. Doris Templemeyer here, signing off.
Doris, huh?
We are very important people.
Very, very important people.
We are. Thank you, Doris. You're very kind.
Do we know this person?
Not directly, but she is Flame's cousin.
Oh, so that, yeah,
Yep,
sure.
yep.
We love the people who call up on the hotline, whoever they may be, or however that person may be, however many they are.
Yeah.
Whatever. But what about you, Max? What cinematic magical depiction doesn't make you all cross-eyed and crazy?
I kind of like the one in Doctor Strange, the first Doctor Strange. I like the way the sort of the combination of magic with martial arts, which also reminded me of Chinese Ghost Story, the first one.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of magic involved in sort of dance. The one that I actually really enjoyed, and I don't like this movie overall, but it wasn't aimed at me, it's called The Kid Who Would Be King. It's like a kid's version of the Arthur legend. And Merlin in that is this tall, gawky, ginger teenager. And his magic is all these incredibly complicated but choppy gestures and facial expressions that look like they remind me a little of Tom Cruise in Minority Report when he's doing only it's really kind of interesting. I liked it. I thought it gave a real sense of this is difficult. This is complicated.
Yeah.
This does not require pseudo-Latin phrases. This is...
Hey! Yeah, you also never see the mages miss their rolls, do you?
No, nobody ever clicks. Really annoying.
No natural ones or 20s, depending on which game system you're playing.
Yeah. So I would say those two. What about you?
Well, funny you should mention the Arthurian legend. No, funny as in what an
funny.
odd coincidence.
Not funny, ha. Sorry. Okay.
No, it's a different use of a common English word. Of course, I wouldn't expect you to understand that because I'm the dumb one. Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? Excalibur. The charm of making has been in my head since I saw that film.
Oh, God, you love that.
I Nathrak Uthwas method Docheldi envy all day long.
Yeah,
I love the fact
I knew he
that
was you wanted a chance to say it. You love saying that spell.
I like the fact that there seems to be sort of one way to do it, or there's other magic, I guess, that we see, what's her name do?
Yeah,
but that's the real thing. Like, if you want to learn to be a real mage, you got to learn that. And apparently that's like the key to unlocking the power.
Everything.
And the power seems to be dragon-based, and the dragon represents the world. And I like the way they pulled that all together. And it's also, magic is not just all over the place. That's when we get into trouble. And the other one that I really like is Dragon Slayer. Because it, too, is a very specific thing, and it's not something you can just whip around and like, I repaired my glasses, whatever. Stuff like, because then things get out of hand and then people cry and then we get Twilight. Somehow. Also, the magic still feels both wondrous, strange, and it's not the main focus of the film. I think that's where we get into trouble. Whenever the magic is the center of everything, that's when we have to make rules because otherwise the audience doesn't understand. And then the writers always go, well, this is how magic works, except that point where it doesn't, because if it did, then the plot wouldn't, and we can't with the thing. So, like, when you ask questions like, why doesn't people in Harry Potter world just conjure money and food? And, because the...
This thing we'll bring up in the last book.
Stuffus Rezonicus. Yeah. Magiclorians. Whatever. Yeah. So, yeah. But those are my two answers. I like it when it's tough. Again, like Matt said, I like when there's a cost. There should be a cost. You can't just do this. You have to have an expensive thing or your arm falls off. I don't know, something. There has to be some sort
that
of
was
cost.
One of the things. It's an old Ray Harryhausen movie. It was I think it was Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. That's the one. There is a wizard in that, and every time he casts spells, he ages.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Interesting. That's an interesting idea that I've never heard in a person's game before.
Yeah, it's a staggering coincidence.
Is it? It isn't. That's a deeper that no one here will get, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But you might not believe this, folks, but we'd really like to get your help with another one of these. So tell us, please, which cinematic detective do you think feels most like an actual person? Tell us in the usual ways, plus that new phone number, which we'll give out at the end of the show. But for now, let's get to that other stuff.
The facts.
Glass Onion. Budget. Well, it's Netflix, so we'll never really know. However, after the success of the first film, Knives Out, there was a bidding war to get the rights to the sequel. Netflix won by paying $469 million for this and another film in the series. So, yeah, a lot.
Wow.
Yeah. Take. Well, as this movie wasn't really released so much as it was streamed, we don't really know. It was filmed and premiered during the pandemic, but likely that wouldn't have changed much as this is a Netflix film. Had it been released, it's estimated that the film would have drawn in about $300 million. Regardless of the popularity of this movie, a third has already been put in development, and both Rian Johnson and Daniel Craig are attached. It will be called Wake Up Dead Man and will come out in 2025. Coincidentally, the teaser for this showed up, I think, yesterday. So
wow.
I watched it, yeah.
We did that on purpose.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant to say. Right.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig's bill for that movie and this, $100 million. We are in the wrong business, Max.
Wow, are we ever?
Christ.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. That's like surpassing Harrison Ford truckloads of money.
Well, I mean, it's nice he's finally making money after doing all those cheap indie James Bond movies.
Yeah, sure. Director Rian Johnson really hated that Netflix insisted that the movie bear the subtitle A Knives Out Mystery, as he wanted this movie to stand on its own two sprocket holes, whatever. Thing is, that subtitle is only used in the marketing, not on the actual film title, so pipe down, Ryan.
Yeah, it's not on the posters either.
No. There's that weird video game being played early in the movie called Among Us. Interestingly, both Angela Lansbury and Stephen Sondheim are seen in the Zoom call playing along with Benoit Blanc. Also seen are Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Natasha Lyonne.
Yep.
This would be the final film appearance for Lansbury and Sondheim. It was also the second appearance by Angela Lansbury in a Knives Out film. Because in the first one, there's a point where someone is watching Murder, She Wrote.
Oh.
It's Marta's mother.
Okay.
And it's in Spanish. You know what? I think Murder, She Wrote actually takes on sort of more interest and believability when it's in Spanish. It's like watching Beverly Hillbillies in Japanese.
Hey, Senora Fletcher.
It was. I don't know. There's something just cooler about it in Spanish. Yeah. Maybe not understanding what they're saying is part of the deal. But anyway.
Maybe.
Speaking of Stephen Sondheim, he co-authored a 1973 film with Anthony Perkins called The Last Sheila, which is apparently a big influence on this film. I'm guessing by your look, Max, that you too have never heard of this movie. Yeah. It might be worth checking out.
Yeah.
The title of this film and its predecessor both came from songs. This one was a Beatles song, and Knives Out was a song by Radiohead. Jackie Hoffman plays Dave Bautista's mother in this film. Weird, as she's only 8 years older than Dave.
Ma!
She's awesome. I love her.
She's great.
Yeah. For the part of the yacht's captain, I keep saying it's Rian Johnson had to beg and beg the actual boat's captain, who really did not want to be in the movie.
Oh.
Yeah. Weirdly, Edward Norton decided to have his character seen dressed as Tom Cruise's character from Magnolia in the flashback, and he didn't tell Rian Johnson ahead of time. The thought was that his character, Miles, never had an original idea in his life.
Okay. That works.
Seems Rian Johnson agrees with us. Dave Bautista is far more than a jock who went Hollywood. He praised his vulnerability, depth, and talent on the set. And yeah, we both agree. Dave is not given nearly the credit, or he needs to get better, more dramatic parts. This, Blade Runner 2049? Yeah, 2049. There's a lot
Dune.
there. Yeah, even Dune. There's a lot there, and I really want to see more.
He is really working against a handicap of the way he looks.
Well, and in this film, it's like you're going to see all the Bautista, pretty much. You're seeing all of it. And there is
100% Bautista. Yep.
There's a lot of Bautista, yeah.
Yep.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the John Ratzenberger of Rian Johnson films, meaning that he has a part in all of them somewhere. In this movie, it's his voice going bong every hour on the hour.
The hourly dong. How'd you like that to be your credit?
Yeah. Rian Johnson is a brave mystery director in that all of the evidence noted by Benoit Blanc when the murder is exposed is indeed visible at the time of Duke's murder. We're just expected not to be looking for it in the moment. So good for you, Ryan. And likely so much more. Max, do you got anything before we get on to the plot?
Did you recognize the guy who meets them at the boat and gives them the magic COVID spray?
No, it's Ethan Hawke, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's Ethan Hawke.
He was literally in the area at the time, and that's why he's in the film. So, yeah.
That was it. The cameos are very odd. You know, Serena Williams shows up as herself through a video
Yo-Yo Ma
chat.
shows up as himself.
Yeah, yeah.
And we'll get back to Yo-Yo Ma. One of his best performances, I think. And he's celloless.
Yep.
Right, plot. It's a murder. Yeah, I know. It's a murder. A murder.
Bloody murder!
Or an invitation to one. Billionaire whiz kid Miles Braun has invited his old friends to his personal Greek island for a get-together and murder mystery party in the middle of the pandemic. But he's rich, so he gets what he wants, right? Thing is, there's more to this than meets the eye, as one of the guests is unexpected. Benoit Blanc, the world-famous detective. At first, it just seems a get-together with the old gang, though one of the gang, Miles' old business partner, Andy, is really standoffish with everyone. She's got good reason. Miles cheated her out of half of their company, and all their so-called friends backed Miles up in court. This utterly ruined Andy and allowed Miles to move ahead with what turns out to be a rather risky alternative fuel that will make him even richer, as if that's necessary. Though Miles doesn't know why, Blanc was invited. He's thrilled as he has a real-life detective here to witness his little murder party. Problem is, just before the murder game is supposed to start, Blanc solves the whole thing perfectly, thus putting an end to the game and the major entertainment for the weekend. The friends get a little uncomfortable when Andy confronts them with their part in her ruination, and the party seems like it's going to break up early. But Miles won't have it and tries to rekindle their friendship. Suddenly, one of the friends dies. Miles realizes it's because Duke, his buddy, accidentally drank from Miles' glass, so Miles is sure that everyone is out to get him, as they all, in some way, owe their continued success to Miles. Naturally, they resent him for that. The lights go out. People scream. There's running about and cursing, and things really aren't what they seem. As this is a semi-recent film, I won't ruin the twist for the plot takes from here, but I will double warn you folks, we will be talking spoilers here. It's in the theme song after all, but sit tight. The best is yet to come.
The film. It is?
Yes.
Okay.
That's us talking about it. That's the best part.
Oh, right. Yes.
You dope.
It was them.
Wow. Can't go by without a Flintstones or Robot Monster reference.
We wouldn't be us.
No, it would not. So, this one's kind of easy, pretty much, because you could have seen this at home when it came out, and I'm guessing that you did.
I did.
Well, actually, quick question, too. Were you a fan of Knives Out?
I loved the Knives Out. I thought it was terrific.
What did you love about Knives Out? Well, because it's just another murder mystery film, right?
It's not just another. It's a really solid murder mystery. It's one where you can sort of figure things out. It's one where they sort of conceal information from the audience, but not really. If you pay attention, you can pick it all up. I think the performances are terrific. I loved the character of Benoit Blanc. I think Daniel Craig. That was the movie where I went, oh crap, he can act. I didn't know that.
I think he was totally fine as James Bond. He's actually probably my favorite James Bond.
You don't have to act very much as James Bond. None of them ever do. You just have to look good.
You have to be cool.
Yes, there's a lot of grunting. You have to look good while you're fighting. You have to look good in the tux. It's mostly about appearance. It's a very shallow character.
It helps if you look good in a swimsuit, too.
That, I'm sure.
Meow, meow.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I'd ever seen him in other than that was Logan Lucky, where he plays this basically redneck thief. And he's only
he does pretty
in the movie,
well in that.
He actually is terrific. That was the first. Wait a minute. All right, maybe that was a fluke. Maybe he's just because he's only in the movie for like 6 minutes.
Oh.
But in yeah, Knives Out, he really impressed me. And so did everybody. Jamie Lee Curtis is terrific.
Well, when isn't she, really?
Yeah, whichever one of the Chris's is in that.
Evans,
yep. He was really good. I mean, he doesn't usually play sleazebags.
And unfortunately, he's pretty good at it.
He was uncomfortably good. But yes, I liked that. Did you?
Yes, I didn't see Knives Out when it came out. It was one of those films that, unfortunately, too many people kept telling me it was so good that I had to wait before I could stomach the idea of watching it. I hate it when everyone says, you need to see this, you need to see this. And it's like, no, I don't. No, I don't. And then I watched it, and I will say this about Knives Out. My first viewing, I was like, oh, yeah, it was decent. The second viewing, I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And I actually just watched it again after watching Glass Onion. I'm like, you know what? I really like this film. So it grew on me more slowly, sort of like Fifth Element did. So I'm guessing both of us were actually pretty excited about there being a sequel.
Yeah.
And you must have streamed it pretty much when it came out, right?
I did. I think it was the week it was out.
And speaking of week, I'm guessing that you didn't enjoy it all that much.
Yeah. I didn't hate it, but I'm sorry, the first one set the bar pretty high.
Yeah.
And mainly I remember thinking these characters are all cartoons. Whereas the ones in the first movie, they aren't. They feel much more like real people.
I agree and disagree. I think they are definitely more cartoonish, and the cartoon is in my notes about the characters in this film. I think there's a lot more comparison to the first film than I originally thought, but we'll get to that. Since we're talking characters, why don't we talk actors?
Okay.
Right at the top, Daniel Craig.
Yep. We just said, I think he's terrific. I think he does a good job in this, too.
I will say this. I would like somebody to turn his eyes down, because quite honestly, I have never seen real eyes that blue, and they're getting distracting. I'm waiting for beams to shoot out of them. They do close-ups and stuff, and it's like, those are
somebody
almost turquoise.
Get him a ruby begonia visor. Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, I love his accent. I really do. And at first I thought, wow, he's kind of over the top and he's kind of like goofing it up in this film. But then they give us a reason why he's doing it, and it makes sense. And I also have to love the fact that he's married to Hugh Grant.
We don't know that. We have no idea really what that is. Hugh Grant just appears, and maybe he's his husband. Maybe he's his boyfriend. Maybe he's his man Friday. We don't know.
Apparently they are a couple. That's what Ryan Johnson said.
I hoped so, because they're so cute. Oh, my God.
It's also nice to see Hugh Grant not playing a villain again. Not that I dislike him. I think he actually does great for a villain.
He does really good villains nowadays. But, yeah, it's nice to see him as just sort of this nice guy. Like, oh, hello.
We see a little bit more of Benoit Blanc, and we see the downside, I guess, when he's like, I've got nothing to occupy me. I'm going to sit in the bath for a month.
Yeah, it's the Sherlock Holmes syndrome.
Are you in the bath again? No.
And that's the thing I liked about the relationship. You know instantly that Hugh Grant's character, he knows he's in the bath.
Yeah.
And he knows he's lying about it.
Yeah.
And Benoit knows he knows, and so forth. Yeah, but that's a very Sherlock Holmes thing, is when Holmes doesn't have a case to solve, he starts to go out of his mind with boredom.
And he plays the violin.
Yes, and of course, that's also when he drops Maxwell's silver hammer into his veins.
And it's only a 7% solution, not a 100%. So, this phase of Daniel Craig's career, to me, is actually getting more interesting. Let's see what else he can do. So I very much enjoy him as Benoit Blanc. Edward Norton. I pretty much always enjoyed Edward Norton, too. I know that apparently he's hard to work with.
But apparently he's a real perfectionist. To the point of, like, forgetting about social stuff. But, no, I think he does this really well. And the character of Miles Braun does not in any way remind me of any other allegedly brilliant billionaire.
The problem is that I actually find that he doesn't make a very good, what's the word I want? Like, rip-off or take-off on that person who shall be named Musk, because he's far more reasonable and interesting.
Yeah, he's less batshit crazy, but no, he's also say what you will about Musk. Musk is actually very smart.
Yeah, he knows who to hire to get things done and actually invent things.
Yeah.
So whatever. Kate Hudson as Birdie J. It's delightful.
She has some of the funniest lines. This can't Shazam. It's a lamp. my favorite, because the way she delivers it, the timing is perfect. She's afraid I'll tweet an ethnic slur. Pause. Again. And the pause is just the right length.
And the best part is that you can tell that whenever she says these things, it literally isn't for being mean or in any way racist. She just literally is too dumb to understand what she's talking about.
I mean, I love how Blanc calls the character out when she's saying, I speak my truth. I don't have a filter. And Blanc says, and this should be, I think, emblazoned on the front of every computer of everyone who uses social media. It's a dangerous thing to mistake speaking without thought for speaking the truth. It's like, damn!
She reminds me a little in this performance of Cameron Diaz. And I used to love to watch Cameron Diaz because she just seemed to be having such a good time.
Oh, okay.
And Kate Hudson, too, just seems to be, like, I don't know this, but I think she really enjoyed making this film. And it comes through. Like Birdie's character is bird-brained and happy. And I think she's a delight. I think she's fun.
Yeah. She's not evil. She's very self-centered, like most of them are.
And shallow.
And she's very dumb.
Yeah. Dave Bautista, again, I don't think he has enough to do, quite honestly, as Duke Cody. I think I hate the character he's playing because I hate that kind of person, but he's doing it really well.
He's based on a bunch of, like, famous alt-right or men's rights activist influencers. Like, the first thing I thought it was Andrew Tate.
I mean, he does actually kind of remind me of the Tom Cruise character from Magnolia.
Oh, yeah, again. Magnolia.
See our entire episode. Yeah. Pretty much every movie we've mentioned in this so far in this show, you can see our episode on that. I think we've literally done all of them, but yeah. I want to see more of him. I think Dave Bautista is an untapped resource. We need to see more of him. The character works fine. There's not a lot for him to do.
I still like that he lives with his mother.
Well, let's get a Jackie Hoffman. She should have been invited to the party.
She should have been there too. Except that would have turned it into just a full-blown comedy.
I know.
She can't help but be funny.
She is funny.
If you ever seen her on Only Murders in the Building, she's great there too.
Yeah. No, I liked her. One of the big stars of this film to me, though, Janelle Monáe.
Oh, man. She's playing two characters. And they're very distinct.
Very.
They are using, I gotta say, one of the things that annoys me is this movie uses the identical twin mystery trope, which is a bit done in. Yeah. But she actually shows how you can play twins and plays them as totally different people. Are you paying attention? The Acolyte.
Well, one had a haircut that was different. And then they used a lightsaber for cutting hair, because that's a thing. But
sure.
No, Janelle Monáe I know as a musician, although and mostly, and she's amazing as if you've ever listened to any of her stuff. Her influences she wears on her sleeve, but she's really good with them. And some of them are weird. Like there's stuff I swear she's channeling from Frank Sinatra, but she's doing her own thing with it. Yeah, she's quite the person. And I don't think I've seen her act before. She does great.
I think you must have, because she was in Moonlight, and you saw that, and I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I saw her in Hidden Figures, and she was terrific in that.
Yeah, I don't remember her particularly in Moonlight, but I was too busy watching the main plot. So, Catherine Hahn is Claire.
Catherine Hahn, I think she is someone to be watched. She came to my attention. She's done tons of stuff, but she came to my attention during WandaVision, where she plays Agatha Harkness. Yeah. And she's got her own series coming out about that.
I think she plays the kind of person that you would expect would want to get into local politics and then take it further. I think she really embodies the role very, very well. I don't know her work from anything else, but yeah, she did great.
She's mostly a comedian, but she does that great, wound so tight, you just know she's going to snap at some point.
Yeah.
She plays that really well.
I really expected when she was doing her little news interview at the beginning that there were going to be kids launching themselves into the camera, but they didn't. So, Leslie Odom Jr. Don't know his work, but I kept staring at him going, "Are you Jamie Foxx?"
He was good. He didn't have a lot to do. I have to say Lionel Toussaint is probably one of the more underused characters.
Yeah.
I think he did a fine job with it. He's absolutely believable as a scientific whiz kid.
Sure. But yeah, like you said, his part is not big, and they didn't give him much to do.
honestly, I think the biggest role he's known for, he plays Aaron Burr in Hamilton.
Oh, well, good for him.
Yeah.
Jessica Henwick as Peg. Love Peg. Love Peg. She's there basically trying to keep Bertie from committing like social suicide all the time.
She's there to keep Bertie from bursting into flame or running through a plate glass window or something. Yeah.
Especially when she finds out there's a secret phone and that Bertie has been tweeting or whatever on it. So, yeah, she's fun. She doesn't have a huge part. There's parts in the film where she's basically in a big hat and sunglasses, so you don't even recognize her. But when she's doing stuff with and for Bertie, she's actually a lot of fun. Madeline Klein as Whiskey. I can't imagine why they hired her.
Yeah, the thing is, she turns into more than eye candy.
Well, she does, but they don't.
Interesting.
I wish we'd gotten a little bit more of that, because the character of Whiskey, who initially seems to be just sort of a hanger-on of Dave Bautista's character, Duke, turns out she's got her own aspirations, and she's kind of just choosing Duke to get where she needs to go. Yeah,
she's got her own agenda. And the thing is, she'd have been more interesting because, like Blanc, she's an outsider. She's not privy to all of the stuff that happened.
Yeah. And,
but, of course, then we have the real star. Noah Sagan as Daryl.
Yeah, Daryl, D-E-R-O-L, which I suppose says it all.
Yeah.
And I've only seen the film twice now, but I still don't know why he's there.
I have no clue, except it sort of speaks to Miles's character. It's another hanger-on. I'm sure he's somebody who just flatters him and thinks he's wonderful, and probably keeps him around to make himself feel superior.
I guess.
You know, Daryl is a slacker. You can tell he's the Kato Kalin of this group.
He might actually be the only person in the film dumber than Miles, except Bertie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, and Hugh Grant, who's there for 5 seconds, but, covered with flour, but being domestic. Yeah, he was fine.
But he's fun. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that the performance in this are all the tops. I enjoyed everybody. I, again, occasionally just wish there was more of some people. That's all. The opening of the film, I thought, draw you in. There's a puzzle box delivered to everybody. I don't know about you, but I always think, I want somebody to send me a puzzle box.
My first thought was, oh God, it's the puzzle box from Hellraiser. It's going to open up and a Cenobite is going to come out. No!
Funny, I didn't think of that at all. Of course, it might help if I actually had seen the film. But
yeah, well.
I'm no Pinhead. What do you want?
I don't want to be a Pinhead no more.
I don't know. I thought that was a cool way to not only draw us in, give us a flavor of the film, and also give us an idea who this guy Miles of. Or, I'm sorry, give us an idea who Miles wants us to think he is.
Yeah.
Because
I do like the fact, look, all these incredibly elaborate puzzles, and Benoit Blanc describes them as these child's puzzles. Of course I got through them.
Well, never mind, Duke's mom is yelling the answers off camera. She's like barely, it's a stereoptic puzzle.
It's a compass.
She's awesome, yeah. So
I also really like the way Helen gets through hers, or Helen/Andy's. Yeah. She just looks at it and she does an Alexander the Great with the Gordian knot. She says, F this, sorry, and smashes the whole thing to get inside it, and it works.
Of course it does. It's made of wood. Probably not even great wood at there. So I actually like that. But we also get a little inset from Yo-Yo Ma. And he has something to say, and he's talking about, that's this fugue. What is a fugue? And he describes a fugue. A fugue is a musical piece based on a simple theme when overlaid with itself becomes more complex. I really like that part. I honestly do think that that's the way the film works. We see the murder of Duke, and it happens. And then we come back and we overlay that again, adding just a little bit. And it's like, that's not what and then a little again. And so it actually does start working that way. And I'm absolutely positive that was on purpose. And I thought that was actually, also just having Yo-Yo Ma come out and tell you that is kind of funny.
It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it fits in with the whole image of the onion, multiple layers that you peel away.
Right. So I think the opening of the film really sets things up very well, better than I remembered it having done. Then we kind of basically everybody solves it and they go to the Greek island, and we really even more so get to see the characters' personalities in the way that they arrive at the dock.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, Birdie's there being herself, and then Duke shows up and shoots his gun in the air. But Janelle Monáe just walks out in that dress, and I'm like, you know, that's an entrance.
Yeah. Yeah, she's the one with an actual sense of drama.
Yeah. And it's, to me, it's one of those moments like, you know, when Audrey Hepburn wore that little black dress in Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's one of those, wow, that's a wow, just visual stunning moment. And the cool part is when you find out later, again, spoilers, if you haven't seen this, go watch the film, because we're going to talk about stuff. When we find out what's really going on with her, we realize why she's doing it. And it's not just, I'm pretty, I have this dress. It's, no, I need you to look at me and not think about me. And I thought it worked very well. So I'm intrigued from the start.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a question about the character of Miles.
Yeah.
Now, I've never met anyone particularly like this. You know, the whiz kid that's, you know, somehow eventually was nerdy, but or wanted to look like Tom Cruise in Magnolia, and then somehow succeeded. Is this somebody that we would actually want to meet or be friends with in real life?
I don't know. Honestly, from what we see in the movie, oh boy. You are, of course, ignoring the sheer draw of money, of knowing someone that rich.
Right.
That is it. For a lot of people, that's incredibly appealing, and they will overlook a multitude of sins for someone who can just take them to an island or, you know, buy them a car because they feel like it. Or hell, throw an iPad at them and say you won.
Yeah. I won. Sorry, that's deeper. No, say I won. I won.
But
the thing is that until we find out what's going on, he's not, we don't think, he's not a bad person necessarily. He's just kind of jerky. He's
incredibly pretentious.
Yeah.
I mean, not just the malapropisms where he's using the words wrong. When he's trying to explain what a disruptor is. Sorry, I threw up a little in my mouth. I'm sorry. What a disruptor. I hate that term.
Yeah.
Because it's so inaccurate. The disruptor. No, it's not mean you disrupted things. It means you did something better than other people did. It's not disrupting at all. You're using the same system and you're maintaining the same system.
Yeah.
And when he's trying to explain what it means, and it's like buzzword, 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 buzzword.
Yeah. Well, and that's where the part that I actually kind of find interesting. There is one shot of him wearing a suspicious black turtleneck and having a shorter haircut. Who's that? And it may be that his entire brilliance, if you can even grant him that, is in knowing who to have around him. And the luck of coming up with an idea that somehow eventually becomes possible and useful.
Except he didn't come up with anything. All of his ideas, they make it clear, are terrible. He steals Andy's idea.
Well, that's in the initial thing, but then we're talking about the energy thing, and that comes later, and that's
which again someone else developed for him and doesn't work.
Well, it works fine. It's just it has certain slight safety precautions one might take. Honestly, the humanity.
My thought initially was, okay, you've just designed an incredibly powerful weapons system.
Yeah. Well, and there's a reason that there's no longer gas lighting up people's houses, not least of which is inefficiency. It's like, there's a lot of gas fires in the Victorian area, so let's find something else.
Pure hydrogen is not a great thing to have around anything that, I don't know, has electricity.
Yeah, and luckily the gas coming into your home was not hydrogen, because, there'd be problems.
That would be a lot of problems.
Here's the thing, I have to be honest, I would like to think that if somebody had been in my life that was like Miles, I would like to think that I would not be, let's see, how did they put it? Sucking on the gold tit. I would like to think that.
Yeah.
I can't honestly say if I would have or not.
It's hard. It's very hard until you're actually presented with that.
Yeah.
Because, it's hard to turn down things that are offered to you.
Right.
And it's obvious that what he does, that's a way in which, honestly, Miles, I can't say he's brilliant, but he has a real kind of animal cunning.
Yeah.
The way like pilot fish or remoras latch onto something powerful
Yeah.
Like, okay, he's collecting people who can be successful, and he is leeching off of them.
Yeah, pretty much. One of the things I mentioned earlier, I wanted to talk about the comparison for this film and Knives Out for more than one thing. Watching it the second time, I'm like, gee, the plot of this film is hauntingly familiar to the one in the first film.
Yes.
At the
yes,
center, we have a rich person, and he's the center of other people's lives, and they resent him for the monetary hold that this person has over them.
Called the golden handcuffs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's an actual term for it. So you have a rich friend or a rich relative who controls you because they're the ones with the money.
Golden handcuffs. You have to pay extra for that?
Yes, you do.
So I will admit the first time I saw the film, I didn't make that connection. Did you?
Yeah, I did. I remember thinking this is eerily familiar.
Okay. So is that one of the reasons that you didn't like this film?
Yeah, I was kind of like, you're sort of doing the same song with slightly different lyrics.
Mm.
The setting is different. A lot of this, I mean, the rich guy is alive at this point.
Right.
But, yeah, that was part of it. It's like, come on, you got so much you could do here. So many different things. And you go with that.
Well, and it's not like even Knives Out was not exactly a blindingly new plot. It's a cozy. No. It's a British parlor mystery we've seen many times before. And we've talked about this on Max Mike Movies a number of times. Even if you've got a threadbare plot, if you can tell it well, that's all that matters. We're here for a story, and we want a story told well. Even if we've known it before. I gotta admit, in Knives Out, did not see the ending coming. Nope, this time, rewatching it, I'm like, because I don't remember plots as well as I used to, but this time rewatching it, it's like, oh yeah. And I gotta say, and even though it's in the trivia, I did catch the glass switch this time.
Yeah, so did I, but a part of me was watching for it.
Well, and I didn't remember that. I think I vaguely remembered it, but I saw him do it. You apparently can also see him take the gun. Like, it's on film.
Oh, that I didn't know.
And there is a thunk when he dumps it in the bucket. I got to give Rian Johnson, because let's face it, Agatha Christie films and characters and stuff love to bring up stuff at the end that was never in the film before.
Yeah, yep. You withheld critical information from the audience.
You introduced characters in the last 5 pages. Yeah.
Yep.
All that being said, the characters are a bit cartoonish.
They are. They are very cliche. They're modern cliches.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the whole idea of the influencer and the fading fashionista, those are a little new.
Well, they're not new in this film because, of course, he did them in the last film.
Yeah.
Because we had the influencer and then the makeup company lady. And
we had basically a bargain basement Gwyneth Paltrow in that.
Yeah. Although, I still vote for Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Very much.
Jamie Lee Curtis is awesome.
And they're a little thin. I mean, they're very... We don't, especially Birdie, we don't have a lot of depth there. I mean, to be fair, there isn't any. And actually, the thing I like about that with Birdie is it reminds me that there are people in your life that really don't have much to them. As nice as you might want to be, there really are people like that. The other thing, too, and we're reminded because, well, there's his face in the entire film. This is kind of like a Bond movie.
A little bit, except there's no, punching and fighting and not a lot of stunts.
But there's a layer, and you're waiting for it to explode, which it does. So, and even initially, Blanc feels cartoonish, and I was about ready to sort of write off the whole film until they do the flashback, and we find out why he's acting the way he does.
I'm going to lay on the Southern hokum.
The Kentucky Fried Corn Pone.
Yep.
And I actually like him a little bit more because of that. There's times, though, that even the score, it's a little over the top and kind of Bond-like. It doesn't quite go dun 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 dun, but it kind, and then it goes dong. So it kind of does. Yeah. There's not subtlety as much here. I do have a question, and I've been trying to figure this out, and I know, not least of which because you're smarter than I am, that you can help me.
Oh, please. Yeah?
Why did Miles invite Andy?
That's actually a good question. Honestly, I think it was ego. I think he can't.
She was already dead.
Oh, I see. I mean,
Yeah, because remember, Helen finds the box.
It might have simply been, I'm going to send her a box because it would be suspicious if she was the one person I didn't invite.
Except that it wouldn't, because no one expected her to be there.
Nope. You got me. I didn't think of that. I don't know. What, do you have a possible solution?
No. That's the problem. Because without the box, we don't got a film, right? Because if Andy's not there, the world explodes. I mean, literally, right? Because of those little hydrogen munchy chocolate-covered crystals things. I literally, especially because at that point in the film, spoiler! Miles already knows she's dead because he's, killed her.
The one who killed her, yes.
So I couldn't figure it out. Like you said, to divert suspicion, except everyone, it's having then, because we don't know at that point why she's all pissed off at him. Once we see the courtroom scene, it's like, why would she ever have come? Why would he invite her?
Why would she ever want to be anywhere near those people again?
And also, why would Miles want her to be near him physically where she might, I don't know, enact some of her fantasies, none of which are pleasant? So,
because he thinks he's invincible. I believe that. I don't think it even occurred. Because you notice when he suddenly is pretending to think he's in danger, or maybe he does, he's a complete wimp about it.
Yeah. That's just... When you're doing a whodunit, if you've got one of those little things, like a little thread sticking out of an otherwise perfect Hermes gown, you're like, what if I pull that? Is it going to... all the stuff going to come apart? Is she going to be naked? And I would love if any of the listeners who have seen this film, like it or dislike it or whatever, have got a good answer for this, please let me know. But right now, I can't figure out why Miles would send her a box. It doesn't make any sense to me. There is one of my favorite quotes of the film. It's near the end when Benoit is explaining what happens. And I think it's Birdie who goes, "It's so dumb, it's brilliant." And
like, no, it's just dumb. I did like the truth. Miles Braun is an idiot.
Yeah.
He's like, nobody tried to kill you, you vainglorious buffoon.
I mean, it just makes him all that much more fun.
I got a question. What do you think of the end? What do you think of the vengeance sequence?
Well, okay, when it starts with Helen, who is pretending to be Andy, breaking glass things, and then the other characters like kind of jump in, my thought was, oh, I bet they loved shooting this. They look like they're having so much fun.
I watched it and going, what the hell is the point of this? He doesn't care. You can tell. It's nothing to him.
He cares a little. You can see little twitches on his face, but you can also see him go, yeah, I'm not going to, it's just money. They're spending my money, but whatever. Okay, I'll get over it. And then there's the Mona Lisa,
which somehow he has rented from France.
Yeah.
Because they're losing money at the... I'm sorry. They will never let that... I know the whole story of when it wasn't a big deal until it got stolen. They will never let that painting out of their country again.
Oh, it got stolen in France. It wasn't...
Yeah, I know.
It hadn't gone anywhere.
No, the guy stole it and took it back to Italy.
Well... Sort of. He wanted to give it back to Italy because he thought it had been appropriated illegally, and this treasure belongs in Italy. And it turns out that Da Vinci had sold it to the French, like they owned it.
Yeah.
And at one point, it was hanging. I think it was King Philip. It was hanging in his bathroom at one point. And I think it did go on tour though in the '60s. I think it actually did tour the United States among other places.
All right, maybe
but that was
I'm
the
wrong,
last time.
Very hard. He must have had to shell out an awful lot for that.
Well, the problem, of course, is that it's very fragile. It's on a thin wood board, and humidity can wreak havoc. I mean, that's one of the reasons.
Yeah, they're on an island in the middle of the Aegean.
Yeah, nice and humid.
Yeah,
makes wood swell. Good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's symbolic, really. I mean, do I believe it? No. It's not the first time we've seen a Bond villain with a painting. Oops. He's not a Bond villain. It's actually true that Dr. No had a painting that had literally been stolen in real life. Oh. It wasn't the real painting in the film, but they were making reference to the fact that this painting had gone missing, and there it was in Dr. No's lair.
Okay. But, I mean, there's a certain thing, the whole thing is she uses the little piece of hydrogen to blow up the room and she destroys the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
That seems a bit much to get back at this guy.
Well, he killed her sister.
Yeah,
and took everything away from her. Quite honestly, I think her sister is worth more than the Mona Lisa. I'm sorry. I know it is a brilliant painting. It's a one-of-a-kind masterpiece, blah, blah, blah. It's not a person.
The other thing is, would that have worked? He's like, you see, your fuel of the future just barbecued the world's most famous painting, dumbass. Are you telling me that he couldn't get his publicity people, his PR people on that and somehow throw it onto her or make it...
Without bringing up the murder? Doubtful.
Yeah, maybe. And the whole thing is then they all decide to testify on her behalf.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so your whole thing is based now on a bunch of people willing to perjure themselves again.
Well,
it feels very unsound.
Also, I have to ask, they're all sitting there going, oh, the original napkin and the original napkin. Isn't the napkin in a photo of them? Couldn't they, because there's a picture of them all in that bar and they're all holding the napkin. Couldn't they zoom in and go, oh yeah, I know it's on film and it's not got the high res, we can't Blade Runner this thing. But couldn't they tell it's not the same? I mean, the logo's not on it, so...
Not to mention when she's just standing there holding it and he walks up to her and burns it.
Well, because apparently they printed their napkins on flash paper.
Yeah. It's like, you didn't see, he's right there. Why would you let him get that close?
It's a little hokey. I think the idea of what she did is fine. And of course, there's no way he's going to explain not having the Mona Lisa to give back. It's like, there's no getting over that. So no matter what, he can claim whatever he wants, but it was in his care. So regardless of whether he can try and pin it on her or not, he rented it for a party. So, yeah. I don't know. But something that we didn't rent for a party is our conclusions about whether we like this film. I don't know. I know. Don't do metaphors. Don't do it. So we should get to that point.
That one's a little tortured, but okay. The finish.
So, Max.
Yeah.
You saw it when it came out, roughly.
I did, roughly.
Have you only seen it this time since, or just?
Yep.
So, initially you thought, the characters are pretty thin. Plot's reaching a bit.
And redundant.
What do you think this time?
I laughed more. I thought I noticed the funny parts were funnier. I still don't think it's anywhere as good as the first, and I still think it suffers in comparison to the first. But I think it's all right. It's entertaining. It moves along all right. It's just, if you look too closely at the plot, and I hadn't even thought about the thing about why did Andy get a box, it doesn't hold up. And I find the ending unsatisfying.
Cool. So you're going to vote no.
No, I would say a soft yes. I'd give it like a B-.
But it sounds like there's parts you liked better than you did the first time, but there's also parts that annoy you more.
Yes, honestly, there are. I like some of the characters more. I find the humor is funnier this time. But overall, I don't think it hangs together as well. What about you?
I liked it better.
Okay.
I found more joy in the performances, especially Kate Hudson. She's just having such a good time. She's so dumb.
Yeah.
And the other characters I think are well played. I want to see more of Benoit Blanc, and apparently we're gonna. I actually think that this idea of the fugue, as illustrated by Yo-Yo Ma early in the film, really does pan out. And what looks simple is repeated and overlaid with flashbacks, and it makes the story not only more complex, but something totally different. But then the glass onion metaphor still works as well. It's like, oh, so many layers. No, there's nothing in the center. There's nothing. It's just dumb. I think those parts work. The fact that it's pretty much exactly the same plot as Knives Out. Yeah, didn't notice that first time around, but yeah. And the fact that the characters are a little bit more cartoony and a little bit thinner. Yeah, but I actually enjoyed it more. I would knock it up. I'd knock it to a B, honestly. I thought it was fun. It made me want to watch the first film again, which isn't a bad thing. I will say this.
They did that.
As much as I like the Helen character in this film, I don't like her as much as I like Marta. Marta is just such... I think Marta is played... Marta has... There's a lot more sympathy due to Marta, I think, because... although it's pretty much exactly the same. Here's a character that's sort of on the outside and all the other characters treated like crap. Another echo from Knives Out. I will also say this film put me in a mood for watching whodunits, and I immediately threw on Gosford Park right after that. It's the entire episode in Gosford Park. If you have not seen Gosford Park, I honestly think Julian Fellowes basically said, oh, yes, British cozy parlor murder mysteries. Yes, I'm going to take them all and I'm going to condense them and make this. And he kind of made the perfect murder mystery.
It's certainly absolutely great upstairs, downstairs style English movie.
Also great performances in that. I mean, you have such...
And what a cast!
I know.
My God.
I mean, I'll watch anything with Maggie Smith in it anyway, but when you've got Richard E. Grant and Jarek Jacobi and lots and lots of great people. Eventually Stephen Fry, who's, I think, maybe one of my favorite movie detectives because you could just see that constable that's with him who's like, don't you think we should bag? Oh, no, don't bag the evidence. No, they're rich people. Nobody here could have done it. No.
Stephen Fry, I'm sorry, he commits a true felony in that he just walks away with the movie. He steals every scene he's in. Yeah.
But I think if you like murder mystery films, and if you were a fan of if you're a fan of Knives Out, I can see why this film would bother you. I don't know. Give it another try. I think once I got over the major humps of the reasons that I didn't like it, I was more forgiving for some reason. I don't know why, but okay, watch it again.
That's fine.
The other thing we should do again is talk about that poll question.
Do tell.
Tell us in the usual ways, what cinematic detective do you think feels most like an actual believable person? I know that's a big stretch in a lot of cases, but you can tell us by, hey, why don't you give us a call? You can leave a message just like lovely Doris did at 617-398-7266. That is 617-398-7266. We would love to have your voice on the show, but you can also answer us by emailing us directly at us@maxmikemovies.com. Go to our website, maxmikemovies.com, leave a comment, respond to our feelings of the film, answer the poll question, give us ideas for series, give us ideas for films that we should watch, that we haven't watched, etc., whatever you want. Talk to each other.
Tell us how handsome we are.
Well, it's audio, Max. They have no idea.
They can imagine.
Yeah, I bet they are right now. You're not winning. Anyway, they're going for the pony. Anyway,
they keep imagining me in a clown costume, and I don't know why.
That's what you're wearing.
They don't know that.
Anyway, you can find us on...
I'm a bad clown.
Yes, you are. We can find us on Facebook, and we're at Max Mike Movies, and you can go ahead and leave a comment or answer the poll question there. And lastly, if there is, in fact, a poll... No, not a poll, a podcast app out there somewhere. More likely we're on it. We're on YouTube. And we actually have had a couple of comments there recently, too, which is cool. So thank you for the folks who found us via YouTube. But Max, we're still in the pretty much the middle of this series of give me one more chance. What film do you want to give one more chance because you didn't like it?
Well, I want to give this movie a chance because... my problem with it, I don't think had anything to do with the actual quality of the film, but with the way it was filmed.
Oh.
And that movie just made me sick.
Oh.
Literally! The way the camera was bouncing around, I had to walk out of the movie and sit in the lobby with my head down until everything stopped spinning.
I remember.
Yeah. This movie, of course, was Cloverfield.
Ooh,
another one of the found footage movies. The whole thing is done on a handheld camera. Maybe it won't hurt me as much if I watch it on a small screen. I want to give it a chance because I know a lot of people liked it, and it spawned the whole Cloververse. Yeah.
Does that have leprechauns in it? That's a...
No, just a lot of cows eating them.
And it all takes place in Ireland. So yeah.
Exactly.
I'm going to give Max a little out here. If necessary, if he goes to watch this film and can't make it through it, we will somehow substitute at the last minute and do something else. But
I think it'll be all right. I just may be a movie I just sort of watched from the corner of my eye or something.
Watch it through a mirror or, yeah.
But that's right.
Next wheeled. Can't speaking.
We wield this film. We wield the wand of Odin.
Next week, Cloverfield, won't you?
This has been a co-production of The Voice of Max and The Movie Wrench.